Hey guys, King of Charm Man is here. Alright, so Shadow SCIZOR is a beast for the Love Cup, so if you want to use it, yes you can, but it's just, well, it's not hard to find per se because you can get one from the leaders, but as you see here, it is pretty hard. It's kind of glassy, so it's a bug/steel type. It's kind of glassy. That's a little bit of an issue with it, but the reason why it's so good is because of its typing. So if you see here, your only weakness is actually fire. So if you can wipe out the fire typing, you pretty much you're pretty good with like everything else. The only issue is that with the steel and the bug typing, fighting does neutral damage. So yes, your only weakness is fire. However, fighting does do neutral damage against you, and that can flip some matchups. However, this is basically Shadow SCIZOR is basically the anti-tap-tap team. If you want something that literally anti-metas this cup, it's definitely going to be Shadow SCIZOR. As you see here, it double resists grass, you double resist poison, bug, dragon, fairy, ice, normal, psychic, and steel. It can actually beat Charizard, which if you're running Dragon Breath Charizard or Wing Attack Charizard, it can actually beat them just because it's able to resist so many things. So it's a beast, and it's actually pretty dang good for the Love Cup. As you see here, it also has a variety of moves. You have X-Scissor, you have Iron Head, you have Night Slash, and you also have the things that you can even pick Bullet Punch or Fury Cutter. But overall, this is actually, Shadow SCIZOR is basically, like I said, the anti-tap-tapper of the Love Cup. Alright, here's the Love Cup rankings. As you see here, SCIZOR actually ranks at number 31, so it's actually not that bad. You want a Shadow, though, just because of if you look here, the Shadow damage actually matters. With the Shadow damage, you can actually flip the Charizard matchup, so it's very important that you have Shadow. So, as you see here, the reason why SCIZOR is so good, it's an incredibly powerful lead and closer. Well, not so much as a closer, but it's a very powerful lead. As you see here, you could actually beat, it's like I said, the anti-tap-tap teamer. You could even beat Charizard with it. So if someone's running Charizard Double Charm, you actually beat the entire team, as you see here. Well, you can beat it. It's also one of the top leads in the game. So if you're looking for something and you really, really hate Shadow Razor Leafers and Tap-Tap, SCIZOR is your dude. As you see here in the lead, SCIZOR Shadow is actually number 6. So it ranks in the top 10, being able to take out, as I mentioned before, all the Razor Leafer as well as Charizard and Charmers. So it's a bug that it's a bug steel type that can beat Charizard, as long as Charizard doesn't have Fire Spin. As you see, it starts losing effectiveness outside of the lead. However, it still takes out the Charmers and can still take out a lot of other things. Now, you do have some key losses against the meta, as you see here. Charizard, Medicham XL, Scrafty. Except, the reason why SCIZOR is really interesting is because you're not likely to see fighters in the Love Cup. If you do, then they have to align correctly just because of Charmers. You might see a Alola Mole and Electro, though, so be careful of those. And as a switch, SCIZOR Shadow ranks at number 59. I wouldn't use SCIZOR. The basis of is if it's really weak in the closer or the switch, lead with it and realign and then try to get into a positive matchup. If you win the lead with it, it's pretty strong against what it beats in the meta. Alright, so here we have the pvpoke.com matrix. As always, please consider donating pvpoke.com. We're going to have Shadow SCIZOR here. You don't want to be fancy. Unfortunately, SCIZOR, as you see here, has X-Scissor, Night Slash, etc. But you want Night Slash and Iron Head for one of two reasons. If you see X-Scissor, you don't have a lot of targets for X-Scissor. That's one of them. And two, if you get the Night Slash boost, it's nice. And Iron Head gives you that KO potential against fairies. And it does heavy damage against neutral targets. So it's really, really good. We have 2-shield right here. I hit Battle. Love Cup meta to the right. As you see in the lead, in the 2-shield, SCIZOR is very powerful against the tap-tap teams. As you see here, you do really strong against Vileplume, against Wigglytuff, and against Charizard, and as Crustle. Now, the thing about SCIZOR, and the reason why it's dangerous, is because you have to be careful about losing, you have to be careful. It's not the thickest thing in the world, so if it's something, as you see here, the reason why Alola Mola beats you really hard is because it is a water type. Water does resist steel. And also, as you see here, you're able to beat Wing Attack Zard, but you lose against Fire Spin Zard. There's a lot of things you have to watch out for, so like, as you see here in the lead, it's not that great. So if you have it in a positive matchup, it's awesome, but it loses against a lot of things. Still very strong in the top 6. It's just in a lot of top meta picks, as you see here, you have to be careful. Your best bet is to land a Charmer or like Wing Attack Zard or Crustle, Clefable, etc. In the one shield, as you see here, in the one shield, it gets a little better. You still take out what I mentioned. You're still very strong at Charm, etc. However, you lose against a lot of the rest of the meta. Which, well, not really. As you see, water, fire types, and the fighters. So just be very careful. In the zeros, as you see here, in the zeros, you do even worse. So this is why you don't want to have it in a closer. It loses against a lot of things. Unfortunately, this Matrix doesn't really show you a lot of what it's capable of, since it's only 16 Pokemon. But you'll see in the multi-battle just how powerful it is. Now, it's not likely you're going to have shield. You're going to be up a shield, but if you are up a shield, as you see here, things get a little better. You beat a lot of the meta, except you still lose against fighters, Milotic, Medicham XL, Lickitung, and also Alolan and Charizard, just because they resist Fire Spin sucks, and Alolan does resist your bullet punches. In the 2-0s, you're not likely to find a scenario. However, if you're in the 2-0s, the only matchups you lose are Milotic, Alolan, and Charizard. Just because, again, bullet punch is resisted by Alolan, and Charizard will melt you with Fire Spin. With shield advantage, as you see here, it's a little better, but you still lose against a lot of top meta picks. So SCIZOR is only great, really great in the lead, but you'll see just how more powerful it is as far as the multi-battle system goes. But as you see, you're still very strong in 2-1s. Its best position is in the 2 shield, of course, as you see here. However, you gotta be careful because there's a lot of matchups it loses. The reason why you want to run a SCIZOR Shadow is because it is the anti-Charmer slash anti... It's an anti-Charmer slash anti-Razor Leafer, and it actually beats Charizard Wing Attack. So that's one of the reasons I want to do it. If you have one built, you can be fancy about it. However, it's still very risky. It's very difficult to run in the level. 6 out of 10. So if you're here for the... I want to give it a higher rating. The problem is SCIZOR isn't that great. So I really wanted to give it a chance, but Shadow SCIZOR... So it is a great lead. However, if you look at this, 51%. In other words, you only beat half of the entire Love Cup with SCIZOR in the 2 shield. So as you see, you lose a lot of leads. It's just not worth really running SCIZOR unless you're trying to be mega spicy. Just because a big reason is it's a glass cannon from hell. If you don't have a really positive matchup, it's going to give you a lot of trouble. Yes, you can beat things like Shadow Razor Leafers and Charmers. However, there's better options out there. As you see, as SCIZOR actually starts losing shields, it gets worse and worse. That's because SCIZOR is just so glassy. The only way SCIZOR is effective is if it has shield advantage. And even then, you barely scratch 80% of the surface. So you still lose against a lot of top meta picks. So, unfortunately, as much as I want to hype it up, SCIZOR is not a great lead. It does do well at number 6, all things considered. It is a top 10 lead. However, there are better options out there. Honestly, I think it's a little overrated. I would say, like, SCIZOR's probably like the 10-20th lead. But, like, statistically, it probably belongs in number 6 just because of all the patterns. So it does belong as a top lead. However, I wouldn't recommend using it unless you're trying to be really spicy. Like I said, there's other better picks out there. So, unfortunately, that's just SCIZOR's limitation. Even in as it starts losing shield, it actually gets worse. It's very powerful against anti-tap tapping, and it's able to beat some weaknesses. However, it's just too glassy. Even though it does so much damage, it's just too glassy. It needs shields. It needs shield advantage. Otherwise, you start losing a lot of matchups. And that's SCIZOR in the lead. It looks good on paper, but unfortunately, it's not the best thing in the world. There are better things out there. If you really want to test it out, by all means, go right ahead. But honestly, it's not a great pick overall. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Good luck and go battle sets, and I'll see you guys on the next video.